On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we answer some of your OU football questions. Then we talk some Thunder after they evened up the NBA Finals 2-2. And of course, we give you our winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com, and follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Sunday, June 15th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards, and happy Father's Day, Ted.
Happy Father's Day to you, Gabe.
We work every Father's Day. That's how we do it.
It's just what we do. What's better, right? That's the number one gift for Father's Day, pumping out a podcast.
That's what you told your wife this morning. What do I want to do for Father's Day? I want to pump out a pod episode. That's what I want to do.
Uh, good
Happy
stuff.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We appreciate you guys. We know the grind. Keep it up, fellas. We know the
Keep it up,
grind.
guys. Keep it up.
All right, let's jump into the OU football stuff. And right now you got the Brent Venables camps going on. Sooners also hoping to get some more good news on the recruiting trail in the very near future. But other than that, Ted, it's the summer workout grind and it's kind of quiet. So I thought, why don't we just answer whatever questions people have about the team right now?
Yeah, well, it's question season, right? Not a lot of other stuff going on. Let's see how people are feeling about the team.
It's what July's usually list season. We'll get into the lists in
Right.
July, but right now it's question season. Let's start with one from Eric Bates. He asks, "What game has you saying, 'Dear God, we better have our poop together, or I'm faking diarrhea to get off the broadcast?'"
It's a great way to frame it.
Uh, do we think Eric means like we better play really well, or else they're going to get embarrassed, or
I think
like
so.
inferior opponent and it could be closer than you expect? Like, what do we think Eric means with the question?
I think it's we better bring our A game or we're going to get embarrassed type of deal.
Okay, let's run through the schedule real quick. And we got some more game times this week, kinda.
Hmm.
So the opener's August 30th against Illinois State. That's going to be a 5 p.m. kickoff. September 6th, Michigan in prime time at 6:30. September 13th, Temple. That's an 11 a.m. Central kick. That'll be 12 Eastern there in Philly. September 30th, Auburn. That has been labeled as flex, meaning the kickoff's either going to be between 2:30 and 3:30 or 5 and 7 Central.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess we've got several of these. I guess it's just kind of what does the landscape of college football look like at that time? Have both teams exceeded expectations or fallen below? And I guess the good thing for me, either one of those kickoff windows is still excellent. So consider it a huge win.
Yeah, the flex, it's a little confusing when you look at it on the graphic, but then you're like, oh, yeah, afternoon or night. Yeah, sign me up. I'm good with
Yep.
either of those.
Good or gooder.
Yeah, October 4th, we've got Kent State at 3 p.m. OU Texas is October 11th. That's going to be a 2:30 kick. October 18th at South Carolina, 11 to noon Central. The SEC has labeled this as early. I, I'm fine with either of those.
Yeah. I I would say, like, as a fan, I would have liked to have seen what that place is like at night. But take the teeth out of the stadium whenever you can. Playing on the road in a big game at 11 is never a bad thing.
Ole Miss is October 25th, and that's another one of those labeled as early games. So 11 to noon Central.
Which I'll say, big difference between 11 and noon. The most important hour bonus that you get there for a kickoff time. That's critical time for people trying to get in and get situated, get a little tailgating in.
Hopefully, Sooner Nation gets that extra hour for that one.
That's right.
And then November 1st at Tennessee, that's another one of the flex games. So 2:30 to 3:30 or 5 to 7 Central. The same for Alabama at Bama on November 15th. You got November 22nd, you're playing an 11 a.m.er. And then November 29th, LSU is flex.
Yeah.
So what game, how did Eric phrase it? What game has you saying, "Dear God, we better have our poop together or I'm taking diarrhea to get off the broadcast"?
It's hard not to say Texas. Maybe that's just the default answer year after year, but 2 out of the last 3 years there, we've had it handed to us pretty good.
I would say non-competitive.
Yeah.
And I know that word carries a lot of weight, but that's how it's felt 2 of the last 3 seasons.
It's probably one of maybe the worst loss, and then another one where you're not like it 2 bad ones in a row, or not in a row, but out of the last 3 years. So, and I think that if we handle our business early, and Texas is the type of team a lot of people think they are, I don't think we'll be I think we have a chance to be right there fringe top 10, kind of depending on what happens in front of you. And Texas, you imagine, will, if they beat Ohio State and what they played Georgia also before us, right? So I think regardless, I think both teams are going to be ranked pretty high in this one. So it's going to be an important game. A lot of focus on it. 2:30 kick, and it's, if Oklahoma's really, I guess air quotes, back and ready to have a good solid season, that game's going to tell the story, in my opinion. I mean, beating Michigan early is great, but Texas is the real barometer with where you're at.
Yeah, Texas does not play Georgia. They don't play Georgia till November. They go to Florida the week before.
That's what I think. That's the game I'm thinking of.
So they've got the opener in Columbus, which will be a massive, massive game. San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, and Florida. So very, if they're able to go to win the one in Columbus, you expect them to be undefeated coming into the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
And maybe undefeated and ranked number 1 in the country.
It's really a pretty similar schedule to what we have. You know, they've got Ohio State, we've got Michigan, a couple of non-com games in there, and then what I think for both of us has a chance to be a good tester in early SEC play before we match up.
I think my answer to this question is I really want him to play well at South Carolina.
Yeah.
I know that seems random, but I was not having a good time on that broadcast last season. You and I, that is as angry as I can recall you being on a broadcast. And you and I, and we text during the game because we no longer want to say what we need to say during commercial breaks after a few warnings over the years. And the text exchange between you and I during that game could only be described as dark.
Yeah. That was brutal. It's one thing to lose a football game and to play poorly and to be frustrated, but to have it happen that soon, it's like you have to endure the torture for the next 3 hours after the first half hour. Pretty brutal. So I'm with you on that.
it's also the type of game like at South Carolina is not easy. But if you're going to have a good season, it's the type of game you got to go win.
That's right. That's right.
At Tennessee, at Bama, you get okay. You got to go win at South Carolina. You have
Right.
to.
Yeah.
If everyone wants to keep their jobs, you have to go win that type of game. Like that's just how I feel.
Yep. Yeah. If you have any plans on going to win at Tennessee or at Alabama, and you can't go get it done out South Carolina, I mean, things happen, games turn, but you would think like if we're the team that you want to be and I think are capable of being, that's a game you need to go play well and win on the road.
So you took Texas, I took at South Carolina.
I
Those
yeah,
feel pivotal.
yeah, I agree. I think that I mean, you can make the argument that I think the Michigan game is still so early that it may not, for both teams, I think Michigan and us, it may not tell the exact story of who you're going to be that year. But I think it's incredibly important for us to win for a million different reasons. But even if you lose that one, it's really, I'm not going to say no harm, no foul, but it's a non-conference game. And like Texas to me though is going to be the real tester. Like what type of team can we compete for something pivotal this year? Go beat Texas, and that puts you in a really good spot.
I like it. All right, let's get to the next question. This one comes from at SoonersGrad87. He asks, SEC Mike said the Sooners optimistically go 10-2 this season. Cole Kublik said we have the best D line in the SEC, and it's not close. With the over under being 6.5 wins, why shouldn't I put $10,000 on the over?
I don't know. I think that there's a couple of things that work with that 6.5 number. Um, Schedule wise, we could be a pretty dang good football team and lose one score games, really tight games to a bunch of people that I also think are going to be really good football teams. But having said that, if you're going to pick a year to go one side or the other, and you can get Oklahoma at 6.5 this year, I feel like it's a pretty good bet. That's just me. It's now that is a nervous, long, scary bet, but I mean, if you can find it at 6.5 somewhere, I feel pretty comfortable saying the Sooners are going to win 7 games this year.
$10,000 is a lot of money, though.
Yeah,
but maybe not to Sooners Grad 87.
that I was about to say. I mean, it's always a lot of money, but don't risk 10K if you can't afford to risk 10K.
Very important point there. But yeah, I think I think it's a fair question. I think with all the optimism around John Mateer and just the expectations that the defense is going to be really good again, it's hard for a lot of OU fans to go, wait, they don't think we can win 7 games? I would say this is kind of a what's the worst case scenario conversation for me. And we kind of witnessed it a year ago. Bad quarterback play and injuries all over the place on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like injuries, I think that's the answer. Like why should I not put a big bet on the over for OU's win total? Is football's hard to predict. It's a very physical game. People get hurt.
Yep.
The other thing is they have the toughest schedule in the country.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. other than Illinois State, Temple, and Kent State, that's 3 wins. You can't go anywhere if you don't win those 3 games. Outside of that, you could lose to anyone else on your schedule, and it's not like Michigan is Michigan. They got a young quarterback that a lot of people are saying may be the best quarterback Michigan's ever had. All right. Do I expect him to be there in week 2? No. But Michigan's still fairly fresh off a national championship, bunch of great players. Like, you just click through it. Auburn, Texas, South. I mean, we do not play a game where you can't easily envision right now as we sit here a scenario in which you don't win it. That's rare that you have 9 games that you feel like, hey, a couple of turnovers, a missed field goal, give up a big chunk touchdown play, all the like that scenario can happen in pretty much any game. And if it happens in any of those other 9, they're going to be very difficult to win. So that's the thing that really, I don't know if necessarily scares you, but doesn't make that 6.5 so easy.
Yeah, I think the schedule is clearly something that would prevent a lot of people from making that type of bet. And then as you were going through that, I was kind of just running through worst case scenarios in my head. The offensive line just doesn't gel and they don't play well.
Mm-hmm.
That would make for a very long season. John Mateer, other worst case scenarios. John Mateer, SEC defenses just move a little too fast for him. He turns it over a bunch.
Yep.
You miss a bunch of kicks.
Yep.
I know we don't like talking about that, but hey, Tate Sandell has come in. He's got good numbers throughout his career, but he's never kicked in environments like this.
Yep. And I think that it's not hard to say of those 9 difficult games, it's not, you don't have to try very hard to find a scenario where all or most of those are 1-score games in the fourth quarter, right? And if you're missing kicks, it's going to be hard to win those tight games.
Next question comes from Street Viv 6, who asks, will we ultimately need to eliminate all non-rev share sports in order to sign and retain enough high-end football players to legitimately compete for natties consistently? Josie came out this week at the Board of Regents meeting and said 6 sports will be part of revenue sharing: football, men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball, and women's gymnastics. So I think Street Viv 6 is saying, hey, would we have to eliminate everything but those to be super competitive year in and year out in football?
I don't know. I don't have a.
I don't like this conversation. I don't know why I picked this question.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but it's a very real. It
is. I don't have access to the balance sheet. I don't know what exactly they're looking at whenever they're making those decisions. But I think for SEC and Big Ten schools, it's going to be, I think they're going to be able to keep those non-revenue share sports. Now, they may operate differently than they have in the past as far as travel expenses and where they go play non-conference games and stuff like that. But I think those schools are going to be able to retain most, if not all, of those sports, if the appetite is there, but the ACC and Big 12 teams and anyone in the group of 5, it's going to be very, very difficult because that new $20 million that you're going to have to pay to keep up, like, everything else is still there. You're not going to find a way to eliminate $20 million away other than making some real difficult decisions about where your money goes. So my hope is that people find a way to do it, and we don't just have schools all over the country action programs, because while they're not revenue producing and may not even have like huge fan bases, I think it is important that young people across the country have access to be able to play sports in college. I think it's incredibly important.
I completely agree. But what, 75, 80% of that 20 and a half is probably going to football?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's going to be
Whatever the
pretty.
high, would they say the highest you could do is it 80 or 85%? There
I,
is a cap on it, I think.
I, Joe Castiglione this week just said, "Hey, what we're doing is kind of in line with everyone else in the SEC is doing." And my assumption is that's going to be somewhere between 15 and 16 million dollars of the 20 and a half is going to go to football,
Mm-hmm.
which just from a number standpoint makes a whole lot of sense because football is at a lot of places the only thing that's profitable.
Yeah.
So we'll see, and if the we'll even see if this house settlement holds. I mean, it's already being challenged by a group of female athletes on, they're challenging it with Title IX. We'll see how all of this unfolds, but I think in order for OU to collect the type of talent they're going to need to collect, you're going to have that 15 or 16 million dollars, and then you're going to have ways that you exceed the salary cap. I mean, I think that's what everyone's trying to figure out. How's that? How strict is this clearinghouse going to be with these NIL deals, and
Yeah.
how is all of this going to work for all kinds of different universities? And that's really, I think there's going to be a lot of schools brainstorming. Okay, how do we exceed the salary cap and not get in trouble? Like, how do we push the boundary but not get our wrist slapped doing it? And I'm sure there's meetings going on all around the country about how to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that to me is the most important part of making this whole thing work, is being able to hold everyone accountable and have a legit way of tracking it. And hopefully, and this is probably, I mean, we know how it is. People are going to find an edge where they can, but hopefully we get a system that is fairly consistent across the board. And, ultimately, I think that if that is the case, I think that new world is going to be much better place for Oklahoma than what we have currently.
We'll see. I
Yeah.
I still there's these parameters that are laid out in the House settlement, and I think a lot of people think that's what it's going to be, and I'm over here going, I just don't think any of this is going to. We'll see. Ultimately, we will land on the final version of college football. I think. I don't
Some
know,
point. At some point.
but at least we're in the SEC and we're in the cool kid club,
Yeah.
so I'm not overly concerned about it.
Yep. I agree.
I thought this next question was really good. Kevin Holland asks, how will Jim Nagy's success be measured?
Hmm. Well, I I think it'll be measured the same way it is anyone else up there. How many football games do we win? I
It's got to
mean,
be the answer, right? Wins and
yeah.
losses.
I think it is, because we're in a transition right now where we've got a small piece of our roster that you could say Jim Nagy and his group are, um, you know, partially or, in part responsible for, just like the rest of the staff. But there's a huge chunk of the roster that they're not responsible for. So I think there has to be some time given there for a transition to where we've got a bigger percentage of this roster that is hand selected, held together by Jim Nagy and his staff. But ultimately, it's about is the whole process working, and are you winning football games? I mean,
You, I, that's the sport.
mhm.
I do think that, like you mentioned, you got to give them some time. I know that we all want instant results, and I think OU's going to be a good team this year. I think they're going to be better this year than they were a year ago. But he's only been on the job for a few months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'd say that he's he's helped make an impact on this roster coming up this fall. And I wasn't sure how much of an impact they were going to be able to have, but I think already you look at some of the moves and stuff, and it's harder for me to say in the high school recruiting because that's got to kind of play out. You know,
Right.
it's not just how highly was a kid rated that we got in. We have to see if whatever philosophy they're using for the high school scouting to see if it plays out. And, like currently, I think we've got, you know, probably more 3 stars on our commit list than people would like to see. But if you have a high hit rate on those guys that you've circled and said, we want these players, doesn't matter what they're rated, we like their traits, then I think you have to give massive props for that. And if you don't hit on those guys, that's where the pressure is going to come from.
No doubt. I do think clearly wins and losses will be how Nagy is judged, but in a weird way, I do think he'll be judged by how many draft picks OU produces.
That's true. Yeah.
He's, the NFL background, running the Senior Bowl. We all know, we've talked about it on here a lot. These last couple drafts, it's just not even close to where it needs to be for OU to compete at the highest level of college football. It just hasn't been. And he was brought in to improve the evaluation of talent for the program. And it's kind of tricky for me because there's this evaluation piece, and it's the physical traits, it's guys' personalities, like do they fit the culture of the program? But Nagy's not really responsible for the physical development of players once they're here, and the X's and O's stuff and like the technique stuff. That's not the GM's job. That's
Mhm.
strength staff and the coach's job. So it kind of all works together. So I think that ultimately he's going to be judged by wins and losses. But one thing I will definitely be paying attention to is how many guys do we have drafted? Because usually
Right.
if you have more guys drafted, then you're going to have better football teams. It's just how it works. So I think it's kind of those two pieces for me. It's like, okay, what are the results on the field with the players they're bringing in, even though he may not be completely responsible for how those guys get developed as players, but wins and losses is how the sport's measured. And then, okay, you and your staff are supposed to be, top tier evaluators. If you're evaluating at a very, very high level, you're producing draft picks.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of two pronged for me, if that makes sense. Wins and losses, draft picks.
Yeah. I agree. And those both two create the other. You got a bunch of draft picks, you're going to win a bunch of games. Win a bunch of games, probably going to have a lot of draft picks. So I'm with you, though. Like the NFL talent piece has to be there. I mean, number one, it's hard to compete in recruiting if you consistently aren't pumping out guys to the NFL. I mean, let's be honest. High school recruits look at that. That's a big factor. Or how many guys are they putting in the NFL? What's my percentage chance if I look at, their recent history putting players in the league? That's a factor for people. So, I mean, ultimately you want it because you want NFL players on the field, but it helps in other aspects too.
No doubt about it. All right. Ready to talk some Thunder? Boy, things are exciting.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. We'll talk some NBA Finals. But first, Taking a road trip this summer? Remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway, and with the Love's app, you can save big all summer long. You can save 10 cents per gallon on gas and up to 25 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app this summer and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to fire up your cookouts than with Didier Ranch's steak burgers made from 100% premium cuts of steak. These burgers are the real deal. Juicy, flavorful, and packed with that rich, beefy taste that you love. Plus, they're shipped right to your door, so you can spend more time doing what you love and less time shopping. Head over to DidierRanch.com now and use code SOONER for a special discount on your first order. Get ready to taste the best burgers you've ever had. Proudly raised 100% in Oklahoma. Didier Ranch, steak in every bite.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the Oklahoma-owned company and the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. This month, to celebrate Dad and backed by popular demand, Simple Modern has released a unique OU tumbler while supplies last. Starting June 6th, grab one for your Sooner-loving dad or get one for yourself. But hurry, this limited fan-favorite design won't last long. We're also excited to announce that Simple Modern will be back this fall with a new limited edition tumbler unique for each and every OU home football game. Plus, with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, you're helping Oklahomans everywhere. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. Time for some football guys talking basketball, and oh my gosh. Thunder win game 4.
It's a nervous
111,
one,
10. Final score 111, 104. Didn't feel like that most of the game. Ted, things were not feeling great pretty much the entire game until the back half of the fourth quarter, but especially like late third quarter, just felt like the Pacers had complete control of the game, and then they have owned the fourth quarter in the series for the most part. So I think a lot of Thunder fans were going, "Oh, what? We're gonna outplay them in the fourth quarter all of a sudden." And yeah, that's what happened. Game on the line, series probably on the line. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder rose to the occasion in the fourth quarter, outscored the Pacers 31-17 in the fourth. Shai drops 15 points in the fourth, and somehow, some way, the NBA Finals are tied at 2. That was exhilarating.
Yeah, that game did not feel good at all until it did. It's just like out of nowhere. Yeah, 31-17 in the fourth quarter. That's interesting. Outscored in every other quarter and then turned it on for the fourth in a big way. And I never felt comfortable until I think Shai hit some free throws maybe to push it to 8 or 9. And it was finally like, okay, I think we could breathe comfortably here, but that was nervous. And you have to credit the Pacers for this. I think they are a far better team than I and a lot of people gave them credit for coming in. And they have answered by cranking up the defense on their end as well. They have made it very difficult. But saying that, I still don't feel like the Thunder have really put together a complete game.
No. I mean, game 2
game
is
two good,
kind of just controlled it throughout, but you're in your home building. The offense has just not flowed well at all. Like, I think they had 10 assists in game 4. You go look at the box score of game 4, and they made 3 3-pointers in an NBA Finals game on the road in the year of our Lord 2025 and somehow won.
It's crazy.
It really just doesn't make any sense. It kind of just speaks to how great their defense is, that they were shooting it that poorly and somehow, some way we're still in striking distance. Somehow, some way we're still like in the position to do what they did in the fourth. But yeah, luckily they're one of the best defensive teams we've ever seen. That kept them in it. And yeah, Shai was just when you needed your MVP to be the MVP, he made massive shots.
Mm-hmm.
That three he made to put him within one, that I was just screaming, "We finally made a three!" I don't know. It felt like it gave everyone hope.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, we finally saw three go in the basket.
it's crazy. It from a team that, you know, shot the ball so well all season. It's just it looks like there's a lid on the basket. I don't. What do you credit that to? Is it just do you credit to Indiana and the pressure they're putting on, or is there something else at play?
I think it's the pressure. I think the physicality and the pressure. We knew they were going to pick up full court and do that, and you could probably count. I don't know, one maybe two hands. How many times Shea brought the ball up in Game 4?
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Like I think Daignault wanted him off the ball so he could just jog down the floor and not have to worry so much about the constant pressure and the physical toll it was taking. Because I was at Game 3 in Indiana, and Shea was exhausted in the fourth quarter. And I think it had a lot to do with the constant, not only physical toll, but mental toll it takes bringing the ball up all the time when a team is pressuring you like that. It's not easy. So they got him off the ball. Like J-Dub played point guard and initiated a lot of stuff. And I think maybe that's why he was so aggressive getting downhill and getting to the basket. I liked a lot of what I saw from him.
I did too. Yeah, I
But
thought.
Shea didn't look like himself for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, and I wonder if
Nimhard,
that's. You think that was um a conscious effort after Game 3, being so exhausted in the fourth? Like
no
I'm
doubt.
going to wait before I kind of press the gas.
No doubt. Because I'm just telling you, like in the timeouts in the fourth quarter of Game 3, as it unraveled and my soul was being crushed in the stands,
How was the environment there?
really good.
Yeah,
Not as good as ours. The biggest difference, like they're all engaged and all super loud, really, really good. They had a run in Game 3. They had a run in the second quarter. TJ McConnell just has a place going crazy. God, they love
yeah,
TJ McConnell. I
yeah.
mean, love him.
He's the
But
energy guy. Yeah,
there was a stretch in the second quarter where that place got rocking, and then the fourth quarter when they took control, it was rocking. But they're not as just consistently loud all game long like we are.
gotcha. Yeah,
And it's just I've been in both places now. I'm planning on going to Game 6, so we'll see. It could be two very different vibes in there depending on what happens on Monday night.
right. Yeah,
But yeah, it's really good. And I do want to say, Indiana fans, no one said anything to me.
yeah.
Like, so that was cool. I know there's got a clip of a guy in like a Shea jersey that looks like he got or a Shea shirt, looks like he got assaulted or something after Game 4.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, not good, but I could just only speak for myself and the group we were with. No one said a bad word to us. Now, the Pacers did win that game, so that could
Right.
have something to do with it.
That changes the mentality for sure.
So I had a good experience,
Good.
and I'm hoping that the Thunder have a chance to close it out in a Game 6, and I'm there, and my I am mentally preparing for people to be less nice to me.
Could be a totally different world by then.
But we'll see. But back to Game 4. I I don't even know how to put into words how important Alex Caruso is for this team, man.
I know.
20 points in some shots where he's like Euro stepping through the lane and finishing off 1 foot. He's shooting fadeaway jumpers on the baseline. He's just massive, massive shots from Caruso. And then of course you got the defensive piece of things, but this team in the most important games of the season of this playoff run, Alex Caruso has been one of the key reasons they've won the game.
No doubt. No doubt. It's been fun watching him. You're right. Like the points, 20 points, incredible. But I like everything else that he brings, just, the energy, the way he plays, some toughness. I mean, you could just check the box on all the intangibles. The defensive piece is awesome. He ended up with 5 steals, a couple of them critical. Um, yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch, man. A lot of fun to watch.
He's also the guy when, like in game three in Indy, when stuff started going wrong, he's the guy that is talking on the bench during the timeouts. Like he's the one that's encouraging everyone. He's the vocal guy.
Yeah.
So that obviously clearly brings a lot of value, and he's won a championship. He knows what it takes.
Yeah.
So this is his first season here, but he clearly feels comfortable speaking in those moments, and that team feels comfortable listening to him in those moments. I just can't say enough about what that guy has meant to this team, especially during the playoffs. Dort, if I went and watched the game again this morning, Dort made Halliburton's life very difficult in the second half.
Yes, he did.
Maybe my favorite play of the game is when Halliburton was leaning on him up at the top of the arc during the free throw, and Dort just kind of swats him off, and Halliburton goes flying to the ground. That was maybe my favorite play of the entire game.
Yeah, it was. I got to give credit to the officiating. I think it's been really good, letting them play, letting it be physical, and he's playing right on that edge the entire time.
Scott Foster put on a bit of a show in game four, as Scott Foster does.
Yeah.
I think the Pacers fans are rather angry at the officials. But what was it? 38 free throws to 33. And remember, Indiana was fouling intentionally. Ben Mathurin, what are you doing? Why are you fouling before they inbounded it? What was that guy doing? He was the reason they won game three. I was sitting in the stands going, I am at the Ben Mathurin game. Awesome. This is great. Sweet. 27 points for Ben Mathurin. And then the next game he goes and does that. Misses massive free throws down the stretch and does it twice. Fouls before the ball is inbounded. So we get a free throw with the ball. Like it was kind of crazy to watch the difference between what he was in game three and what he was down the stretch in game four.
Yeah, that was a fascinating scenario there at the end, and I they did a good job really like we had some tough inbound plays where it was not easy to get that ball in, man. Rarely is it that intense of a situation watching a game on an inbound play, and it happened a lot through the fourth quarter.
Caruso is always the inbound guy. He's made some mistakes now. Maybe we should consider someone else.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That the one where was it like he tried the bounce pass? I was like, you caught the Pacers guy right in the pocket with the bounce pass there. But I know it's way easier said than done. When the NBA guys crank up defense like that, and you got people in your face, it's not like inbounding it in a high school game. It's a totally different animal, man. So there's going to be some mistakes, but you got to clear that up, especially in those late game moments. Those plays are just so critical, man. They're intense to watch.
Thunder need Miles Turner to keep missing.
Yeah,
that'd be awfully helpful to the cause. Looking ahead to Game 5. Game 5 in Paycom Center is going to be the best atmosphere in franchise history.
Yeah.
There is no doubt in my mind that place is going to be insane. I cannot wait, but the Thunder have to handle it in the proper way. And one thing I'm hoping is that it's clear that the Thunder's offense is kind of stuck in the mud. They're not sharing the ball the way that we're used to seeing it. That offense does not have the typical flow we've seen it have throughout the regular season and throughout some of their best performances in the playoffs.
especially late.
Right. Sticky. Just
Let
sticking.
me ask you this: Is that because it kind of is turning into the possession slow way down, and it's just kind of ISO stuff at the top? And you see this a lot in big games in the NBA. Is that a result of we just got to have our best guy have the ball in those moments? Or is it play out like that because of the pressure defensively getting cranked up and you just don't have the freedom of movement like you do throughout most of the game?
That and the refs are probably letting a little more
Yeah.
go, even though the Thunder they got called for blocking out a couple times in the fourth quarter, and I was just losing my mind. What's he supposed to do? But I
Which,
think
by the
in
way, let me just say while I'm thinking of it, I'm glad Jalen Williams didn't break his hip on that fall. Was that crazy?
I'm glad he didn't put his hands down.
Too early. Yeah.
Like and he's had that wrist issue all season long. And I was just glad he must have the butt broke the fall.
But broke the fall. That was like a full high jump and then land on a hardwood floor.
Correct. That's exactly
Bad.
what happened.
I jumped up and screamed. We were watching the game and on the back porch, and I let out a scream. I thought he was done. I was like, "There's no way he's getting up from that."
Dude, I'm in New York City for a work thing for my wife. And for the second half, essentially, we went to a bar. It was like a bar with like couch setups, and there you could also play like lawn games
Huh.
at this thing, like cornhole and like jumbo beer pong, kind of cool. But no one else in the bar was really that into the game. And then there was us. And to say we were making a scene is the understatement of the century.
I'm kind of shocked that you did that. I mean, it's not easy to go watch a game whenever you want to be that focused
I
at a location.
I didn't have a choice. We had a dinner with like the entire group, and so I was able to get away from the dinner spot because we were having to watch the game on iPads. It was just not an ideal setup. My wife could tell. She was like, Gabe's about to freak out. Gabe's about to freak out, especially because we weren't playing well. So we changed the location, we changed the energy, and it was so funny. We're walking out of the bar after the Thunder win. We're doing like an OKC chant. And a guy that's in the group next to us just like, "Are you guys like from Oklahoma or something?" I was like, hell yeah. Never been more proud to say I'm from Oklahoma in my life. Like, yeah, buddy, we are."
Love
He's
that
like,
he was able to pick up the context clues and put the story together.
"Oh, how could he have known?" Me screaming at the top of my lungs, like in a defensive stance the entire fourth quarter. I don't, how'd he figure it out?
Oh, it's funny.
I'm screaming. I mean, Halliburton's got the ball late. I'm like, stay on his right hand, stay on his right hand, stay on his right. Dude, I was acting an absolute fool. It was great. Having a blast.
Let me ask you something. The series is 2-2. We're going back. We've got it's a 3-game series, right? And we've got 2 at home. Um, who's the better team in your mind?
Who has played better or who
No,
is the better team?
who's the better team?
The Thunder.
Okay.
The Pacers have played better. They've been the better team in the series, however.
Yeah.
Now, I say that. A lot of people are going to say, hey, Thunder should have won game one. You finish that off, you're up 3-1. It's funny. I would assume that if you were able to ask both teams, hey, do you feel like you should be up 3-1? Both teams would say, yep.
Yeah.
Which is usually a good indicator that, hey, we've got a heck of a series on our hand.
Right.
But yeah, that I just think I trust the body of work. And that's why for whatever reason, the people I was watching the game 4 with, they were little down in the dumps. And I was just like, guys, they've done crazier things this year. You simply just cannot give up on this team.
Yeah.
They've delivered in these moments over and over and over again. And they delivered again.
Yep.
We have the best player and the better defense. It's just, I think the Thunder are a better team, but I think if you ask most people that have watched all 4 games, they would say that the Pacers have outplayed the Thunder through 4 games.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But who cares? It's 2-2, and we got 2 of the 3 in Oklahoma City. We all know
Yeah.
what this team is in that building. And I
Agreed.
know we lost game 1, but we all know what this team is in that building.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't, I think that, I think they're, and maybe not, but as you watch it, I think that everyone in the country picking the Thunder, it feels like everyone was picking it in 5. Oh, it's going to be a pushover. You don't get the Celtics. I think that may have had some type of impact on the Thunder to some degree, but I don't know. It's hard to, how can you actually quantify that? I don't know, but they've found themselves in a heavyweight slugfest.
You could say that the expectations maybe got to the Thunder a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That the weight of going, oh my gosh, everyone thinks we're going to win the finals. We're going to win the finals.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's human nature. Like,
Right.
you do everything you can to avoid it. No one will ever verbalize it and say it in a meeting, but everyone's thinking it's like we're gonna win this thing, and I don't know. It's just like I said, there's no way you could ever quantify it, but I think we're deep enough in this thing that is long gone, right?
Yeah. But hey, I cannot wait for Monday night. It is going to be, and I do not think this is an exaggeration. I think Monday night in Paycom Center is going to be one of the best basketball environments ever.
Yep.
I know that may sound crazy, but this fan base is going to do everything in its power to fuel this team to another win. And the energy in the building is going to be way different than it would have been if this thing was 3-1 Indiana. We are going to be unhinged in the best way imaginable. Let's get it. Dude, I cannot wait. I got goosebumps thinking about it. I'm so excited.
It will be the best atmosphere. You're right. Maybe in basketball history, and it's only going to last for a couple of days because Game 7 is going to be even crazier. Because we're going 7, man. I'm just telling you.
You picked them in 7. I picked them in 6 on our initial predictions. I was then swayed by mainstream basketball media. They brainwashed me. They're like, everyone's Thunder in 5. I was like, I had them in 6. 5, sure, why not?
5.5.
Go back to our original predictions. I had 6, Ted had 7. But it does feel awfully difficult. I'm going to Game 6 because if the Thunder have a chance to win the first title in franchise history, I want to be there.
Yep. I still think that they could pull it off in 6, but I don't. It's just the way the series has gone. It feels like we're going to need every single minute of this thing to settle it.
No doubt.
Which I like. I mean, sign me up for it. It's been great entertainment.
Let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
all summer long, the Garage is offering their triple threat combo for $8.88. That's a burger, fries, and fountain drink for just $8.88. The triple threat is available all day, every day in store at all of their locations. You can also enjoy Rad Hour at the Garage with discounted domestic beers, house wines, draft cocktails, and frozen cocktails every day from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the Garage in your neighborhood.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
As always, Ted kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
OU track and field. Been awesome. They've done a great job. The NCAA championships have been going on, and both the men and the women have had some unbelievable performances and really good team finishes. The women had a really nice finish. Pippi Lotta Enoch won the heptathlon. Incredible. National champion in the heptathlon for the University of Oklahoma. A great performance from her. Other great performances from the women team. But the men, Gabe, they finished in 6th place. It's the best finish the University of Oklahoma has had in 28 years and is the second best performance that they've ever had. They took first and second in the triple jump, BJ Green and Floyd Whitaker. And then how about this? Ralford Mullings, NCAA meet record in the disc, 227 feet, 4 inches, national champion. And it is the second best performance all time in the NCAA championship. How about that? Incredible.
Throw that thing, man.
NCAA, not just it was a best performance in the NCAA championships, second best performance all time. Incredible.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Track and field was one of those things when when the SEC move was announced, it's like, oh, how are we going to do? It's a big deal in the SEC. Well, turns out we're just fine. How about that?
Doing really well. Really well. I love that. Second best finish ever, 6th. And I think, they have really ascended the last 2 or 3 years. And I expect that to continue to get better.
Good
job.
You read some listeners' minds. The podcast Twitter got a couple we got tagged in a couple things like, hey, give track and field a shout out. They did some really good things this weekend. Look at you.
Heck yeah.
You know what the people want, man.
Know what they want. And it was cool to see it. I'm glad that they got their day in the sun. Bunch of really good performances out there. I just listed a couple of them. There's several on both the men's and the women's side. Check
All
them
right,
out.
quiz time.
Okay.
You mentioned heptathlon.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name the 7 disciplines of the heptathlon?
You've got long jump. You've got javelin. You've got, I think they do the 100. 100's not in there.
A variation of the 100 is in here.
The hurdles.
Correct. I'm giving it to you.
I think they do the 800.
Correct.
They finish with is it a mile run? 1,600 meters?
800.
They finish with the 8. Okay. And then I think they do they do pole vault? And they don't do pole vault?
This is the AI overview, so I'm hoping it's right. You never know. They're still working through some of those things.
Sure, it's right. You got one more. They throw the shot or the disc too.
Shot.
Yeah.
So 100-meter hurdles, high jump, shot put, 200-meter, long jump, javelin throw, and the 800-meter.
Okay.
You don't do it all in one day, by the way. You do it over 2 days.
Over 2 days. Grueling.
That sounds terrible.
And the worst part, I think it's the men that end with the mile run.
Ooh.
And they are all just like collapsing over the line.
That's awesome. All right, whoever's your loser of the weekend.
Well, I thought we'd check in on the Rockies. Still
our favorite baseball team.
Yeah. Still historically on track for the worst season since 1899. They're currently 13-57, just brutally bad. And Kevin Durant's on the move. Where you think he's going to end up?
First of all, don't you love these are the three destinations player X would like to go if he were traded reports? Aren't those just fantastic?
Right.
I I don't want Durant in the West. I don't want him in San Antonio. I don't want him in Houston. Hit the three Shams put it out that the three destination he wants to be traded are the Heat, the Spurs, and the Rockets. I want him to go to Miami. We got enough
The
to
West
deal with
is
in the West.
it's stupid.
Now, the argument could be made if you look at Durant's last several stops, it's not like the franchises he's gone to have been super successful.
Which I hate. I mean, it's one of the things of
So maybe we want him to go to San Antonio and sabotage the Spurs.
yeah. Don't you hate though that so many players move around to so many different places?
It
I
I think Durant's career, this may sound a little crazy. It feels like for his talent and his ability, just how good he is at basketball, his career's kind of gone. Like this is like the worst version it could have been. Is that dramatic?
no,
You know what I mean?
I
Like
don't think
it
so.
in the best version, he stays in Oklahoma City his whole career. They win multiple titles. They build a statue out front of him in front of the stadium.
Mhm.
Now, even if it would have just been the OKC piece and then the Warriors piece, who knows what the Warriors would have been able to accomplish if he
Yeah.
just would have remained happy there, you know?
Yep.
But then it's been, remember when he was in Brooklyn? That
Yeah,
happened.
I know. He went from a player that was impossible to dislike at Oklahoma City to a guy that I don't know how much he was liked across the NBA. Respected, obviously, but I just hate the trajectory that it ended up having for him, just as far as like with the fans. You know,
That's
his story was like so awesome early on, and I don't
he
know.
was, I think it's fair to say early in his career, like as the Thunder ramped up, he was one of the most well liked players in the NBA from a fan standpoint. Just like, hey, Durant kind of keeps to himself. He just goes out there and gets buckets. He's in Oklahoma City, leading this franchise to great things. And then he's been a different person ever since the backlash of the Warriors decision.
He's been a different person ever since someone convinced him to switch management companies, and they started off by KD is not nice.
That did not go well.
No.
But he's one of the best basketball players ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's debatable. Whether you want to say top 20, top 15, top 12, there's a discussion to be had there. He's maybe the purest scoring forward ever. And people like he's most well known for being a troll on Twitter.
Right. Yeah. It's been
Like,
strange,
you
man.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's strange. The dude is we have witnessed and like I've witnessed his entire career. He's one of the best basketball players ever, and the conversation about him just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't fit that.
It's not about his game. It
It's really
hasn't been
not.
about his game in a long time.
People are like, oh, those aren't real titles. Those are fake titles. I think that's ridiculous, especially with how good he was when they won those titles.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's really strange that you can be that good at basketball and people can talk about him the way they talk about him.
And you just kind of, and maybe this will change, but it feels like you kind of get lost to history when you don't necessarily have a home or a team to some degree, and maybe that's just because that's how it was in the sport for so long. And maybe that won't be the case as we now look back at people's careers, but I don't know, it's been strange for him. But all that said, I settled on loser of the week. Dwight Howard and Lance Stephenson getting in a fight in the Big Three tournament. What are we doing, guys?
Lance Stephenson, this is a true story. Lance Stephenson, I mentioned something about us playing AAU basketball against each other. And he's the only guy who I've ever said anything to during one of the Thunder games that has tried to come into the stands and fight me. Ref had to get in between us. Like, he was coming, and I was ready. I was still playing. I was big, dude. This wasn't going to be a basketball fight. He was about to have problems. We're going straight to the legs, getting straight to the ground, Ted.
I like it.
But it was one of those things where he's like that. Like, he was literally going to come into the stands and fight me.
Yep.
Over me telling him that we beat him in an AAU basketball game when we were like 12. Because we're the same age. So it's just he's got a few screw loose. Hey, Dwight Howard got him with that little hip toss though. That was nice.
Oh yeah, has Dwight Howard been doing some off-season jiu-jitsu or something, double underhooks?
It looked like it.
Pretty good.
The technique was solid. For a guy that tall, that was good execution.
But what are we doing? It's the Big Three, guys. Come on. It's already enough that you're playing in that league, which, I actually think it's a good thing for guys to do and still have some visibility or whatever. But it's an easier way for some fans to go see some of those great players play. But it's like an all-time low to get kicked out of a Big Three game, basically just as it's starting.
It brought a lot of attention to the Big Three, though. How many people knew that the Big Three was happening right now?
Hey guys, let's generate a little bit of we need some momentum here throughout the summer. NBA's wrapping up. Give us a little something that's going to make the rounds. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. Conspiracy theorist over here.
I like it.
Was it scripted like WWE style? Like, hey guys, at the 6-minute mark, I need you to get into it, and then it's going to hit social media, and it's going to be really good for us.
Well, here's the thing.
We need impressions.
Here's the deal. When you make $50 million a year in basketball and you throw punches and get suspended for 10 games, that is a painful 10-game suspension. I don't know what the math is on that, but that stings. So it stands to reason there's a bunch of pushing matches these days instead of guys throwing haymakers, because you're missing out on a bunch of big game checks.
That would be, you said 50 million?
Yeah.
So you're making just under $610,000 a game in the regular season. So if you took
10 games, that's $6 million.
$6.1 million roughly if you're going to take a 10-game suspension. Yeah, no, don't want to do that.
Stings the bottom line. It's a little bit different in the Big Three though, right? So you have to wonder if these guys really hate each other, how are there not punches thrown? Because there's really no harm, no foul. Okay, you get kicked out of a game, right? Why not? Maybe they're used to fighting as much as they can without throwing punches, and it stayed that way. It's a good look that they weren't. So
if I was the Big Three, I would put a fighting incentive in the contract.
It's basically just like hockey. You just have to play 3-on-2 for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like one time a game you can call a guy out. You guys stand there, you go at it for 15 seconds or something. Just build it into the rules of the league.
I like it.
It would make people watch more. I've never once watched the Big Three. if all of a sudden you said, "Hey guys, fight each other in this league." Like
This is
really fight each other, like get in a circle, like hockey style, but they're not on skates, so it's a little better. I'd be like, yeah, I'd probably watch some of that then.
there's a really strong chance that you get to go see two ex superstars throw punches at each other. You probably fill arenas.
You might. It's what just something to think about, Big Three. Something to think about.
Let's go, Cube. Think about it.
Come on, Ice Cube. Just think about it. That's all we're saying. All right, let's get to my winner and loser of the weekend. But first, three things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise, it's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. All right, for my winner of the weekend, thought about going with Caitlin Clark. She's back, Ted.
Woo. I guess so. What, like 6 threes in the first half?
That was impressive. She admits like the last, 5 games, 3
Yeah.
weeks with that quad.
Yeah.
Came back on Saturday night against the undefeated New York Liberty, and well, they're not undefeated anymore.
No.
32-8-9 for Caitlin Clark.
Crazy.
My analysis: she's very good at basketball.
I'll agree on that.
Yeah,
I'll agree on
right,
that.
right.
Pretty impressive. I still
But
think her passing is exceptional and fun to watch.
they play in the same arena as the Pacers do, and they sell it out.
Well, they've been was she at game 3? She's been
Yeah.
at a bunch of, yeah.
Dang it! But hey,
What'd you think of the Dumb and Dumber look down there on the court?
I think it would really stink to spend that amount of money on those tickets, dressed like that, and then you have your team lose. I think that'd be a tough night. Walking to the car in that outfit would be a tough one.
That is so funny.
It was the broadcast refused to ever zoom in on them, dude. They're like, we are not acknowledging these guys.
Because what they had did they have Perkins and Stephen A. Smith
Yeah.
pictures on? Oh, that's funny.
Which Stephen A. Smith under fire. Did you see that?
Uh-uh.
Picture of him playing solitaire during the NBA finals.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
I need some more context. Was it during a commercial break? I need a little more context. Like, was the game being played as he was playing solitaire? I don't know, but yeah,
funny.
a lot of NBA guys have hit the old retweet or repost on their IG stories of that one. So that's yeah. I'm sure Stephen A will address it. Winner of the weekend, however, those Florida Panthers, man. Whew.
Hey.
That was really impressive. Went to Edmonton and completely dominated game 5. End up winning 5-2. They take a 3-2 series lead in the Stanley Cup final. But the most impressive part of it was, dude, they blew game 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
At home. They were up 3-0.
The ending of that game, the ending of regulation of that game, you should have seen me in my living room. My wife and son were like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "Do you not realize what you just saw? How awesome that was?"
Was it like 16 seconds to go in the third?
Yeah. I was
Reinhardt puts
screaming
it
for
in.
like 20 seconds because it just felt like they were about to get it. And how about that angle?
Oh my gosh.
You kidding me? Like you basically only have the width of the puck to sneak that in. That was amazing.
I believe, if my geometry knowledge is still intact, an acute angle.
Very acute.
Very acute. But yeah, but you had that. They get into overtime and then they lose. Like that weird bounce of the puck. Draisaitl somehow ends up through Bobrovsky legs and they lose game 4 at home when they were up 3-0.
Yeah.
But they're able to regroup and just go dominate game 5 in Edmonton, man. That was impressive. They completely took that crowd out of that game right away.
Yep. Yep.
Marshawn is ridiculous, dude.
He is. And
How big is he?
I don't
He
know.
can't be that big. He doesn't look big out there, but the man plays enormous.
Yeah. Let's see. He is 5'9", 180.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. He's on an absolute tear in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
What, 2 more goals in game 5? I think he's got 6 now for the series.
Jeez.
First player ever who has now recorded 5 or more goals for multiple teams in Stanley Cup finals. Only guy ever to do it. And then I saw he's recorded 5 or more goals in multiple Stanley Cup final series. The only other player to do that in the past 59 years is Mario Lemieux.
Wow.
We're talking rarefied Hall of Fame best players ever air for Brad. Everyone says, I've heard Marchand. I don't know how to say the guy's name. I say it both ways. I just go back and forth. But
Yeah.
he's awesome.
He is incredible. 20 points in the postseason in 22 games.
Connor McDavid finally scored.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was that sliver where McDavid scores. Maybe the Oilers have a little life. Made it 3-1 late in the third, and then Reinhart just rips their heart out again and scores shortly after to put it back to 4-1.
Yep.
I just to lose game 4 on your home ice the way that they did, and to be able to kind of dust yourself off, get off the mat, and go dominate Edmonton in their own building the way that they did, that's legit, man. I mean, that's legit.
It felt decisive.
Yes.
You know?
They have, I know it's a 3-2 series, but a couple of the wins have just been
Yep.
complete dominations, and then the other ones have been thrillers.
What, 6-1 and that one was 6-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, 6-1 and 5-2.
Yeah, that's substantial. And it feels like they're going to get this thing done in 6, but it's why you play the game, right?
Did you see the video of the guy taking off the Oilers jersey as
No.
Marchand scored?
In
Like he
disgust?
scores and he takes off an Oilers jersey and he's got a Panthers jersey underneath it. Are we being bamboozled? Was that like a plant?
I don't know. That's funny.
But it was, I've seen it everywhere. So I think it's real and not staged. Who does that? Who does that?
I don't know. Is that one of those like, okay, we're up by enough where it's safe that I can pull the jersey off here and reveal my true colors?
Just wear the jersey, man. People aren't going to assault you in the stands. Just be a reasonable person. You're going to be fine. But yeah, that was crazy. My loser of the weekend, give me the New York Knicks. What's going on here? How do you fire your coach? How do you fire Tom Thibodeau after he just took you to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years and you don't have a plan? Ted, it seems like there was no plan in place for James Dolan and Leon Rose. Like, what is happening? Did they think all these teams were just going to let them interview their really good coaches that are under contract? Like, what? That couldn't have been the plan.
I usually like if you've had a bad season, okay, it's just a move we need to change. But when you've had a great season and you're making a move like this, you feel like like something's been in motion, right? And we've got all of these things in place, and this is how it's going to go. We're going to transition the team somewhere else. But to not have all of those things already working in place is strange. And maybe they did, and someone's like, gave him the okadoke. I don't know, but it's weird.
The strategy has not gone well.
No.
They asked to interview Jason Kidd. Mavs said no. They asked to interview Ime Udoka. Houston Rockets said no. They asked to interview Chris Finch. The Minnesota Timberwolves said no. They asked to interview Quinn Snyder. The Atlanta Hawks said no. They asked to interview Billy Donovan. The Bulls said no. And then they asked to interview Jay Wright, and Jay Wright said no. The latest reports are they're going to meet with former Kings head coach Mike Brown and former Grizzlies coach Taylor Jenkins. And I expressed my confusion when Memphis fired Taylor Jenkins. I think he's a good coach, but I don't think these are the types of candidates that Knicks fans thought that they were going to be looking at.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Thibodeau got us here. We've got something in store for the next guy that's going to get us over the hump. And then it's like, well, not really. We're just looking for that guy.
And that man is Mike Brown. It's like, is Taylor Jenkins really going to be the coach of the New York Knicks? You get fired in Memphis and all of a sudden you're the coach of the Knicks that has a good core? I don't know. I want to know what the Knicks leadership thought was going to happen. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's wild.
It's like it's like having a buddy. Out. You have a buddy that is always, dude, I'm going to quit my job. Okay, well, you got something else lined up, right? No, haven't even thought about it. What?
Just going to see what happens.
Yeah, no, I'll figure it out. No. You need
what
a plan,
about your
bud.
family?
Yeah. What about your children?
What about your children? What about the house payment? It'll take care of itself.
I'll figure it out. That's kind of what the Knicks have done.
Which, what a way to live, though, you know?
No, that sounds awful. as a very planned out person, that sounds awful.
Stress-free.
Oh, my gosh. I have to imagine Knicks fans are starting to freak out a little bit. Like, Thibodeau brought him back. They brought him back to relevance.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to pick the Knicks to win the East next year, but we don't know who the coach is going to be.
Well, they were going to pick the Knicks to win the East.
Great way to put it. It just feels like a disorganized disaster by the New York Knicks. We'll see.
Just when you thought the Knicks were done being the Knicks, not so fast.
On that note, oh no, birthday shout outs. Almost forgot.
Dangerous.
That would have been bad. Can't miss the birthday shout outs. Happy upcoming first birthday to Callum Karjala. Nice. Karjala. Karjala.
Or Karjala.
I don't know. Karjala sounds more fun.
It does.
Karjala.
Happy 6th birthday to Cason Woods. Casson Woods?
Casson? Cassyn?
The double S's has me thinking Casson Woods. Happy birthday.
Yeah, I think you're right. Happy 18th birthday to Zachary Jennings.
Happy 31st birthday to Matthew Moon.
And happy 40th birthday, the big 4-0, to Joseph Burkhalter.
Happy birthday, Joseph.
On that note, episode 537 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. Man, I hope I'm in a good mood. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check our website, okbreakdown.com, for all of our stuff in one spot. We hope you all have a great start to your week. And until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.